Good morning, dear ones. How are you this morning? Again, I hope this finds you well and on the road to well. There was just a lady in, and she was doing so well. She came to us in a lot of pain. And then, of course, she thought she's all better, and she went way off the deep end there, and now she's all hurting again. And that's the thing. You have to learn how far you can go off and not kick your butt too much, because you have to realize that the traditional type of eating around the world, where you have a lot of meats and grains and beans, these are the diets that are hurting us, and you can't go too far back into that world without creating problems. And what's interesting is, if let's say that you had a cancer, or you had arthritis, or you had anything like that, and you really took this out there and you got all this cleaned out of the body, these acids cleaned out of the body, cells regenerated and all that, you would have a hard time getting yourself back to that state. It would take you quite a few years to get yourself back to that state. If you, however, stop somewhere on that road before you reach the remedy, or the cure, if we may use that word, then it will come back, because you just have not wiped it out of you. And that's the thing. If you have not wiped it out of you, you can't cheat too much until you wipe it out of you, or you'll start having the symptoms coming back because you haven't got rid of the cause completely. It's just common sense. So just to keep that in mind, that this is why I keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because nine people out of 10 will start incorporating some cooked foods and some, can I use the word balance to this situation? Because remember, you have an emotional part of yourself and all the thought forms in the mind. So all these thought forms in the mind are connected in a way to the emotional body, and each thought has an emotional counterpart until you leave the astral world, and now you're totally in the causal, where all the past and the future are kept. Then you won't have an emotional component to it. But while still using an emotional body, the astral body, you will always have an emotional component to pictures. But you have to work back out of those things, Let me see here. I wanted to get caught up here. I've got about an hour to be with you this morning, and I kind of mentioned it the other day, or yesterday, that class is coming up, so I'm going to put a lot more attention toward that, so I won't be able to get to a whole lot of these, unfortunately, but sure going to really try. Now, let me see here. This is called Rachel. Yeah, 11:11. Interesting, isn't it? I still see it. I see 1:11 as well. I keep looking at that, trying to look at it from every angle, and I see individuality and the one again. So that means that all things are shifting toward the one again, if that is indeed the significance of that number, which is, awakening, the awakening sign, where all those stand as one, but individual. And that's the awakening consciousness of cosmic or Christ consciousness, or Buddha consciousness, the bliss plane. Those sort of things all incorporate that sort of consciousness, where one sees himself as one with all life. All life is interconnected and made from the same source. And it's a high level of awareness, for sure. So, Rachel, thank you so much for your comment there, dear one. Be True. I love that one. I love your name there, man. Be True 311. Be true. And that's the way it is, Truth, honesty, all these things might sound cliche-ish, but I tell you, they're all in the rhythm of beingness. They're all in the rhythm of things working. The antagonistic side is the half-truths and all the things that are going down that road. This is Dr. Morse. I'm trying to help out someone with sulfur issues. I don't see your GI broom in the store anymore. We have the GI broom. I'd use the GI broom if you're not moving your bowels, but once a day, then use the GI broom. If you're moving your bowels through 3-4 times a day, then I suggest you use something without something like a toxin absorber we have, or you can use, like you said here, modified citrus pectin. You have to be careful what modified means, and then or your bentonites or charcoal. But it's more than that. If you'll notice in the GI broom, I put a lot of astringent herbs. Now, why did I put astringent herbs in the GI broom? And a lot of people just put the sponges. The sponges, the absorbents, the charcoal and the bentonite. But that's okay for the wall. But what about reaching through that wall interstitially where all the lymph has become stagnant and malabsorption is starting to take place, and inflammation, of course, is starting to take place, and either you have a swelling or loss of connective tissue and therefore pocketing, whatever syndrome exists from that. So that's why I like the astringent nature of the GI broom, because when one realizes what the gig is, then we're struggling to find the appropriate tools to use to find the remedy, and this is the case with the sulfurs. Sulfurs are so thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, man. Sulfurs are so gluish to the human body that it's very difficult to come out. So it's not something that we see. Some people, believe it or not, this sulfur comes out so much quicker, and then in other people, this sulfur doesn't come out well at all. And this is the problem. And when you look at this, and you know, you can tell by the iris. And when we get to the iridology in the school, we'll go over this a lot more. But how that moves toward the lymph nodes. And how, if you're not filtering the lymph system, it stays there. And when it stays there, things, remember, under acidic medium become anionic. Hard to describe the anionic, cationic, the protons, electrons. I'll try to do my best at school to help you with that without getting too intellectual, because chemistry, there's so many theories out there. There's the Hardy theory. There's every theory under the planet. And so we'll cover basically what we know about atoms and electrons and protons and the logarithms of the pHs and stuff like that. Give you a little bit of an insight. The problem with intellectualism is you're just going to keep butting up against walls and going to confuse you so much more. Our mind does not have the knowledge and awareness and capacity at this level to understand the physiology of the human body. We think we do, but so does that guy over there. He thinks he does, and that chemist over there thinks he does, and this is the problem. That's why a more simplistic approach. Most of your healers were very spiritual and simplistic. Look at Jesus and Buddha, and look at all these tremendous healers, Mohammed, and these people like that were very spiritual and simplistic as well, because they know that the mind is part of creation, and that mind is what locks soul to these worlds. And therefore, that's why one learns to get beyond the mind if he wants to get beyond creation. Now, that sounds a little out there for some, but you're not part of creation. You're only playing in creation. Creation is outside of yourself. How you make yourself in creation is you get one of these. Or an etheric body, or a mind. All these are part of that process of gaining the ability to play in creation. You can't, as an infinite being, you can't play in the finite worlds without something finite to match the rhythm of the realm, so to speak. So, yeah, anything like that. I use the stomach and bowels. I use lymphatic 1 capsules, lymph node 2 capsules. I use all these sort of things to try to pull on the GI tract, because this is what we're seeing so many problems with, is, of course, the gut and the urinary tract. If you stop and looked at it and you realize the acid nature of proteins and the corrosive nature of proteins, we just have protein fetishes that have no basis in reality. Really, you look at the species most related to us, and then the herbivores, those that are non-meat eaters, even a lot of the omnivores. Yeah, high protein, some of the omnivores cannot deal with high protein diets. Not good. Short-term lives, things like that. So when you start to see the most longevity and the most powerful, you're getting away from the consumption of animal products. And that includes within nature itself. And so you see a lot of power and strength in those vertebrates that do not consume these dead animals or high protein diets. Then you start examining all the studies that have been linking these high protein diets to colon cancer. Last year, I understand, was a 30-year study. So there's a lot of years of studies behind the corrosive nature of proteins and that effect upon tissue, particularly gut tissue. But at the same time, you have to understand that that same acid protein hit on the body disturbs and breaks down urinary tract tissue. I think I told you of a lady that was in here peeing out parts of her bladder because she had been on the Atkins diet for 5 years. And if you note now, the new Atkins diet, someone was real slick with that one. And thank God, a lot smarter, because they added a lot of fruits and vegetables. And that was because a lot of people were dying from high protein diets, and still do today. So they were a lot smarter now in incorporating a lot of fruits and veggies. How interesting, it comes back always to the fruits and veggies. I think I showed you this chart here from, I don't know if you can see it well. I don't know how we're doing here without any help. This is all fruits and vegetables. Reduce your risk. American Cancer Society, 1986. Well, wait a minute. All we're doing is telling people to eat the foods that the American Cancer Society recommended in 1986. My mom watches your channel. This is Adventurous 1100. My mom, a new one to the tube, eh? My mom watches your channel and wanted me to give you her message. Thank God. Oh, thanks. Let's see, I was born with migraines. I am on Detox 5 and 6. I weigh 170 pounds and I'm 5'1" and 42 years old. At night I wake up 20 times. Oh my God. My nails break before they grow and my hair is thinning. Well, let's stop right there for a minute. Obviously you're too acidic because you're losing calcium and you're seeing your nails thin. So your body's leaching calcium out of your connective tissue. And the hair is thinning, so you know that you're not moving your lymph well in your head area. Now, of course, that head sits on top of the GI tract, so the GI tract is partly involved in this issue here. My liver spots are going away, which is good. I always have cold hands and feet. So right here, you're in the thyroid parathyroid gland. This is good for you practitioners out there. This is the thyroid parathyroid again, but it's understandable. Now, another thing you're going to start asking yourself with the thinning hair is you're going to start asking yourself, now wait a minute. We have something that controls the thyroid and parathyroid. That is Monsieur Pituitary. So the pituitary controls the thyroid parathyroid. PTH, SS, thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. Now, you also have a pineal gland in there. She wakes up 20 times a night. So she's got a pineal gland which produces melatonin and others that makes you relax and calm. That's considered the third eye or the spiritual eye in contemplation and meditation, of course. That is considered maybe the seat of the two worlds or the worlds where you move in and out.